get started on this week's adventure, make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss any of our adventures.
Hey, good afternoon, folks, and welcome again to 7 Mile Hill Sanctuary. We're blessed to be here today to share with you not only this beautiful view that God has given to us, but also some historical facts and information regarding the Junior Iditarod. Between 1976 and 1977, Eric Beeman had a dream, as did Joe Reddington Sr., who dreamt of a long-distance sled dog race to save the Alaskan Husky in the sled dog culture and to bring recognition to the historic Iditarod Trail. It was Eric Beeman who dreamt of a race for younger mushers to help them prepare for the longer distance sled dog race. By the age of 12, Eric was raising puppies for his own team. In 1974, at 13 years of age, Eric had a trap line off the South Fork of the Kuskokwim River where the Iditarod Trail comes off of. 3/4 of Eric's team had never seen any other musher running dog teams. Compared to a small team, the teams of Seavey, Atla, and Bobby Vent seemed like a big string of wild animals. And even though he had his hands full with his small team, he was inspired by the larger teams that passed by. During the second and third year of the longer Iditarod race, Eric's family wintered in Farewell Lake. The Iditarod Trail passed close to their cabin, and his mother and sister tended a trailside campfire, armed with fresh cookies and Russian tea. This wasn't an official checkpoint, but mushers would stop by to visit and give their teams a rest. These early Iditarod mushers were a colorful blend of old-time Alaskans. He dreamt about being included in this great adventure one day. In 1976, Eric's family moved back to civilization, and he joined the Junior Alaskan Sled Dog and Racing Association, also known as the ASDRA. During January and February, Eric trained hard and raced most weekends. He enjoyed the competitive spirit of racing, but missed the hours interacting with his team on the trap line. His sprint team training runs seemed too short, and occasional camping weekends only enticed him to want a longer race. At the age of 15, Eric held first place in the junior mushers category. Eric and Rome Gilman, age 16, taught a class for future younger mushers at Grandview Gardens Library. Eric also taught mushing and wilderness survival courses. Some of the training included harness placement and ice safety. During the summer, Eric worked as a commercial fisherman, catching salmon and making all his expense money for racing. It was here at 9 Mile Hill back in 1976 where Eric Beeman had his dream. And his dream was to set forth a race for the younger mushers so they could prepare for the Iditarod race as they got older. And so he shared that dream with his friends Mark Couch and Rome Gilman. And later, at the Junior Alaska Sled Dog Racing Association's Camp Out and Picnic with his other classmates, that dream would become a reality. Today, some 40 years later, the revised trail has come in from the lakes. It no longer goes up 9 Mile Hill, which the old-time mushers call Suicide Hill, is revised, and the alternate route now comes across the lakes and out through the woods and connects back out on the Burma Road by the culvert. A nice trail and a safe run. And so today we're excited to be part of it, and we hope that you're blessed with it. Eric also met with Joe Reddington Sr. in Joe's dog yard to share his vision with him. Joe had little time to help with the Junior Iditarod, where he was so committed in keeping the long-distance race alive. But he did leave him with words of encouragement and told him it was a good idea, so go for it. During the postseason of 1976 and 1977, the ASDRA members had a mushers campout on the Iditarod Trail where it crosses the Little Susitna. Some had never camped out before, so it was a good learning experience for all. Eric was the president of the Junior Mushers Club, and this would be the last chance to be part of the Junior Iditarod, where he and his friends would be aging out. Eric Beeman, Rome Gilman, Carl Clausen, Mark Couch, and Kenny Pugh, and a few others met at the Tudor Track Clubhouse to develop a plan. Eric originally envisioned a race from Knik Lake to Skwetna, about 170 miles, and all his fellow junior mushers were all for this idea, but some of the parents were not. They were worried about dangers of frostbite, getting lost, firearm accidents, and moose attack. The core member parents were all on board, however, having the confidence in the experience of their kids who have trained for such a time as this. The debate continued whether it should be a shorter race or a longer one, how many dogs should run, and what should the mandatory equipment consist of. With Carl Clausen now as president and a couple like-minded adults who were instrumental in helping to get the Junior Iditarod going, it was decided that 2 races with a length that all could agree on would be better than no race at all. They were soon joined by the Knik Junior Mushers and helpful adults. Eric felt had it not been for the adults like Richard and Dee Prowley, a few core parents, and especially the kids who wanted to race, the Junior Iditarod would have surely died. On March 11, 1978, 5 years after the first long-distance Iditarod race began, the juniors had their first inaugural race. Race day was finally here. With 2 races prepared to run, the younger mushers, ages 11 to 14, ran 6 dogs from Knik Lake to 9 Mile Hill, in return for a total of 18 miles. The senior division, 15 through 17-year-olds, with 10 dogs max, ran 40 miles from Knik Lake to Flat Lake and overnighted 10 hours, and then returned the next day. Out of all the young pioneer mushers, Rome Gilman placed 3rd. Carl Clausen racked up more miles putting the race into motion than he did in training, finishing in 7th place. Eric's team had just returned from a race in Fairbanks and were still in sprint mode, finishing in 8th place. Given their experience in training, 3 of the senior division mushers arrived at Flat Lake before the timekeeper did. Fortunately, Carl Clausen's father was present to time them in. So that night at the halfway point, while camping on his sled, a band of rogue junior mushers filled his sleeping bag with snow, but unfortunately Eric was still inside. The first inaugural race was a success. Not one single musher got lost, with toes and fingers all intact, and no moose incidents. No one was injured or harmed. Joe Good won in the junior division, and Mike Newman won the senior division. Eric felt the Prowleys were the Junior Iditarod saviors, and for the next 9 years they put their heart and their soul into keeping the Junior Iditarod alive, something that no one else wanted to take on. Eric is quoted as saying, "They did it for us, the kids." So with the help of Jim Ewell, Phil Meyer, who was the vet for 40 years and still volunteers with other vets today, Al and Bev Marple, sled makers, Ann Meyer, who handled the prizes, Dr. Bob Gross, and other dedicated volunteers, the popularity of the race continued to bring in awareness. So several of the original young pioneers would later be race marshals. In 1979, Clint Meyer won the 90-mile course with the temperatures dropping as low as negative 50 degrees. In 1980, the race was extended to 120 miles, and it was won by Gary Baumgartner. In 1981, Christine Delia and Susan DeBrava mushed 60 miles from Skwetna to the starting line at Settlers Bay. She won the race, arriving at the finish line with her sled held together with ropes after a run-in with a moose, making the victory that much sweeter. Christine returned home the same way she came. Bob Reddington won the first Red Lantern and has been a Junior Iditarod committee member for nearly 20-plus years. And Dave Wolf won the Red Lantern for the senior division. In 1987, Rich and Dee Prowleys left Alaska, and a new committee began. The National Bank of Alaska, now known as Wells Fargo, gave a $1,000 scholarship. The scholarship was started out and has grown to be more than $20,000. In 1983, 5 years after the inaugural Junior Iditarod race, the honorary musher was dedicated to the young men and women who originated the Junior Iditarod. In 1984, Mike Newman, winner of the first senior division in 1978, was the honorary musher in memoriam. Steve Floden was now responsible for obtaining a 501c3 as well as in charge of improvements on the trail. In the 1980s, Steve Floden taught his boys about overflow and basic survival skills. And on one occasion, his 2 boys were out on the trail. His oldest son passed his team over safely, but when it came To his youngest son, this was not the case. His oldest son used his team to pull his brother's team across safely. The junior Iditarod mushers were originally from Alaska, although later branched out to the lower 48 states and to include the Yukon Territory, Spain, Canada, and Czechoslovakia. Thomas Krejci of Czechoslovakia was the first international competitor in 1992. Jessica Kleckett won with a photo finish by 2 seconds in 2008. In 2013, the first non-Alaskan musher to win was Noah Pereira of New York. Scooter Newman, who participated in the first 3 junior Iditarod races, and later she claimed the Fur-Rondy Sled Dog Junior Championship in 1980. Scooter influenced other young girls to participate in the sport, as well as run dogs. She passed away at 50 years young in 2012. In 2013, Scooter was recognized as the honorary musher of the junior Iditarod. The junior Iditarod winner has the opportunity and honor of taking the honorary first position out of the chute during the ceremonial start of the long-distance race in Anchorage. The junior Iditarod winner will lead the pack to the first checkpoint, normally up to 20 miles. And this year's recognized honorary musher was Joe Reddington Sr. There have been several mushers who have won consecutive years since 1978. Tim Osmer won in 1982, 83, and 84. Lance Barf won in 1985 and 86. Jared Jones won in 1989 and 1990. Ramey Smith won in 1992 and 93. Dusty Whitmore won in 1995 and 96. Ryan Reddington won in 1999 and 2000. Kevin Harper won in 2015 and 2016. And a number of those competitors went on to race in the long-distance sled dog race, some to include Lance Mackey, Tim Osmer, Ramey Smith, Sim Smith, Jessica Kleckett, and many, many more. Each musher has the opportunity to receive the sportsmanship award that is chosen by his or her fellow mushers. The humanitarian award is chosen by the race veterinarian. The blue harness is given to the best lead dog, donated by Lolly Medley. Rookie of the Year award goes to the top first-year competitor. The Red Lantern is given to the last team in. All finishers receive a trophy and a patch and prizes by local businesses, and the winner receives round-trip ticket to the Iditarod Award ceremony with their parents. Many of the junior Iditarod mushers came from generations of mushing greats, such as the Reddingtons, Seavies, Osmers, and Mackeys, to name a few.
Got some more snow machines going down the trail for safety. Here comes a team out of the chute, Junior Iditarod 2022. Beautiful dogs. Here comes Morgan Martin. He is last year's Junior Iditarod winner. Right out of the chute for Junior Iditarod 2022. Coming out of the chute with the beautiful mountain behind her. Iditarod 2022, Junior Iditarod 2022, future Iditarod mushers.
Hi, my name is Madeline Detweiler. I am here in Willow, Alaska, and I run Seppalas. And I'm going to get a litter in about 2 years. And I am 9 years old.
So, Maddie, how many races have you done this year?
I do the junior extra point races, and I don't know how many I've done, but there's definitely a lot of them.
Okay, and how many dogs were you running?
And we can only run 2 dogs in the but I have 8 dogs in my kennel.
Nice. Okay. Are you planning to run the Junior Iditarod when you're old enough? So what are you doing, do you think, to get yourself ready?
I mush my dogs almost every night. Sometimes I give them 1 to 2 breaks every week. And in the summer and when the snow has all melted, I use my little mushers cart to run them around. There's a circle right here. You couldn't see the circle though right now because the snow is blocking it.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So there you have it, folks. We got Maddie Detweiler, our future Junior Iditarod competitor. Here we go. Future Junior Iditarod. Beautiful. I love it.
We thank God that in 1976, Eric Beeman had a dream of a race for younger mushers to help them prepare for the long-distance sled dog race. With all this said and what we have learned from the past, behind the scenes there are multiple persons responsible for the advancement of the Junior Iditarod. Not just the winners of the race, but all those dedicated to the sport itself. This includes the pilots, media, dog handlers, organizers, many volunteers, dedicated parents, and hard-working training youth, as well as many dog teams with boots and paws on the ground.
Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss any of our adventures.